A cozy mystery with a question mark. An LGBTIQ plus with a surprise. And a dystopian that is out of this world. What do they all have in common? Welcome back to Mr. Francy Reads! Yes, hello and welcome back to Mr. Francy Reads. It is so wonderful to have your company again today. We are going to be going through another reading vlog. I'm going to talk to you about the books that I've read this week. You guys, I am so extremely proud of myself this week. Oh my goodness me. Okay, if we say that a week is 7 days long, in those first 4 days, I did not complete any books. And then in the last 3 days, including today, I read 3 books. That's right, it was literally completing 1 book per day. I did it, I'm back on track, and by the time we get to the end of this video, you guys will know that I have read 6 of the 9 or 10 books that I originally placed onto my TBR. I am so happy that I am back on track because I was extremely nervous that I wouldn't be. Alright, before we begin, please subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and while you're down there, hit that notification bell, ding, so that you can be notified each and every time that I do upload a video. I try to upload as regularly as I can. I like uploading 3 videos a week. Usually I like to upload them every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, 10 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time, which would be roughly about 6 AM American Eastern Time. So usually that's when it occurs, but if it doesn't, it just means I'm a bit off track, but I still try to upload 3 videos a week. So if you hit that notification bell, you'll be notified each and every time that it does happen. I also want to make the announcement that there is going to be a reading sprint coming up this week that I'm going to be doing, but it will not be on my channel. So I have entered into a wonderful reading sprint relationship with my dear co-host Jessica from Lady Lovestead Reads. Each week we're going to alternate. 1 week it will be on my channel, the other week it will be on her channel, and so this week it is going to be on her channel. So if you've not already subscribed to Jessica, once again, her channel name is Lady Lovestead Reads. Go over there, subscribe to her channel, hit that notification bell so that you will be notified when that reading sprint will begin. There are also some other amazing reading sprints that go on during the week. I know that Lee from Dark Roots Creations and Stormy from Storm Reads also do, and they are wonderful. So if you have not subscribed to Storm Reads or Dark Roots Creations, please do so, so that you can be notified when those reading sprints do occur. And Tiffany and the lovely ladies from Killing Time with Cozies also have their reading sprint that they do. Tiffany's channel is The Beach Bum Bookworm, so subscribe to her, hit that notification bell so you can be notified each and every time that they do reading sprints as well. Let's get on to the first book that I read this week, which I started and finished 3 days ago. Okay, and that is the Cozy Mystery with a Question Mark. That book is To Helvetica and Back by Paige Shelton. I apologize, there's some noise going on. You may or may not be hearing it. I'm gonna try and overcompensate by talking as loud as I can. Okay, To Helvetica and Back by Paige Shelton. This is an adult cozy mystery that follows a woman whose name I forgot. I think it's Claire. It is. We're following, I get a cookie. We're following a woman by the name of Claire who works in a store that repairs typewriters and old books, restoring them to their original state. And along the way, things go down. In fact, within the first chapter or so, there is a guy that comes into her store basically demanding that she hand a typewriter over to him that she is mending for another customer. He seems incredibly insistent. However, Claire has the good sense to refuse him. I think that night or the next morning, something like that, he winds up dead. So Claire ends up investigating who killed him, why he's dead, why he wanted the typewriter, all those types of things. Okay, I end up giving this book 3 stars, and let me explain why. Oh my goodness. First of all, when it comes to cozy mysteries, one of the biggest sides of the cozy side of a cozy mystery is following the protagonist in their profession. The profession that Claire has, working at this restoration place, just did not interest me at all. I'm not saying that Paige Shelton didn't write the book well. In fact, if I'm looking at this book critically, I do think Paige Shelton wrote it well. I just wasn't interested in her profession at all. Each and every time we were at her profession, when she's restoring typewriters, restoring old books, or just we're there and she's discussing something or other to do with her profession, it just wasn't working for me because it's just not something that does interest me. I do feel a little bit let down by my own assumption, admittedly, which was seeing the typewriter on the cover. I thought that our protagonist was an author, and yeah, that wasn't what we were dealing with, so that did let me down. The mystery side was incredibly intriguing though, and I did appreciate that. One thing that let me down though was the fact that I did feel that Claire had absolutely no motivation to be an amateur sleuth and try and investigate this. I honestly don't understand at all why she was trying to solve this murder. She was not suspected as being the murderer. I think there was one stage where they thought maybe it's possible, so they pulled her, the police pulled her in for questioning, but there was never a hard, firm, oh yes, it's her. That never became a thing. So the motivations for her investigating this situation just, to me, were really sketchy. I didn't understand it at all. For me, she just should have kept her nose out of it, honestly. I get it. In a cozy mystery, the protagonist is an amateur sleuth no matter what cozy mystery we're reading, and they're solving a murder. But to me, I need it to make sense, and well, actually, most of the cozy mysteries I read, it makes sense why the amateur sleuth is trying to solve this, whatever it is this mystery is. Most of the time it's a murder. But in this case, Claire just had no reason to, and so I was incredibly confused by that. In saying that, I did enjoy the mystery aspect, and so while she had really no reason to be solving it in the first place, I enjoyed her trying to figure out who the murderer was, alongside her best friend, who it just so happens to be a cop or a detective, one of the two. So I did enjoy that. However, I was completely let down when it came to the reveal, and I really don't know if I want to spoil why I was let down, because it is a spoiler. I do have a better review of this over on my Goodreads page, because I put spoiler tags in and explained what annoyed me about the reveal. But if you've read the book, you probably know. If you haven't and you want to check out that spoiler section, you can. I don't give away who was revealed. I give away something to do with the reveal that I did not appreciate. So if you want to check out that spoiler, feel free to go ahead and check that. In the end, I gave it 3 stars. This is the Killing Time with Cozy's read-along. The plan was to read book 1 in March, book 2 in April, and book 3 in May. There are 3 books in the series. I personally do not plan to continue on with the series. It just wasn't the book for me, and I just have no motivation at all to continue on with this series, so I'm just gonna leave it. But there were a lot of people who did enjoy it, so yeah, that's good. It's kind of, yeah, it's a polarizing book, I feel. But yeah, for me, 3 stars. So the next book that I picked back up, because I'd gotten about a quarter of the way through and I now had time to go back and finish it, was this book, What If It's Us, by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. This is an YA LGBTIQ plus male romance, and I gave this book 4 stars. Oh my gosh, you guys, this was incredible. A little bit of a backstory. I think it was about 2 years ago, not long after I'd started my booktube channel, I discovered Adam Silvera. I had never heard of him before, being one of the co-authors of this book, and I read his 3 solo LGBTIQ plus books, which are right here. They both die at the end, More Happy Than Not and History Is All You Left Me, and I loved those books so much. But Becky Albertalli was an author that I hadn't read. Then I read 2 of her books last year. One of them I gave 3 stars, and the other one I think I gave 5 or 4.5, something like that. So I knew that I loved Adam Silvera. I was a bit up and down about Becky Albertalli. The book that I had purchased 2 years ago, which is an exact replica of this book, exactly the same edition of this book, I ended up unhauling, and I purchased another copy for myself because I thought I'm going to give it a go, because book 2 was planned and was in the works. So I thought, look, I'll read it because I miss reading Adam Silvera LGBTIQ plus books, and it did not let me down at all. The premise of this book is that we're following 2 boys, Arthur and another boy whose real name is Bendito, but for whatever reason he's referred to as Ben or Benjamin in the book. For the sake of, I'm sorry, the lighting is really messing with me. For the sake of my review, I'm going to call Ben Bendito because I love that name and I don't know why it was changed, honestly. Arthur and his family have temporarily moved to New York City because Arthur's mother has one of her law firm branches over there and she needs to go to New York City to work on a case during the summer. Once the summer is over, Arthur, his mother and father are going to go back home, which is in a completely different state. So Arthur knows he's only there for the summer. He doesn't want to be there. He's left behind his 2 best friends and he knows no one in New York. His mother ends up doing an internship at the law firm branch. So as part of that internship, he is asked to go to the New York post office. I do not remember why, but he is. And while he's there, he meets a boy who I know whose name is Bendito, but he did not know this at the time. And the reason Bendito is at the post office, he actually lives in New York, Bendito. He is there to deliver a box of his ex-boyfriend's stuff back to him. So it's a chance encounter that they have. They meet each other, sparks fly, but unfortunately they both end up parting ways without exchanging any sort of details, whether it is names or phone number, email address, or any sort of social media information. They just part ways. And both of them are just aching with regret that they did not do that because they both felt the spark. This is dual perspective, so we definitely get to see how they're feeling about this internally, and both of them are aching to find each other, and they deeply regret that they did not pass on this information. The question of the book becomes, will they find each other, and if so, how will things go knowing that Arthur only has the summer to be in New York, and if they don't, then how will they cope not being able to find each other, basically. Look, I'm gonna say they did. They end up finding each other. It's a romance, and I don't think that's a spoiler. With that setup, if I'm to leave you saying, so, the question is, do they find each other? It's a romance, so yeah, they do. They find each other, and they find each other in a really cute way. I love this book. I found it extremely adorable. However, there is a trope in romances that I don't like, and if you want to know more about that, go back and look at my last video that I did, my unpopular opinions tag. I answer a question about a trope I don't like in a genre, and the genre was romance. I go into detail over there. So I don't want to spoil it here in case you haven't seen it, but if you have, or when you go back and see it, this will make sense. That trope, of course, did come up in this book because it is a romance, and that did annoy me. I docked 0.5 stars for that because it did upset me. The ending kind of let me down, I have to say. I was a little bit surprised with the ending considering that Becky Albertalli was co-authoring this book. However, I did have to think about it, and I thought, well, Adam Silvera also co-authored this book, and the ending is very reminiscent of Adam Silvera endings when it comes to LGBTIQ plus books. However, in saying that, I absolutely loved this book for the majority of the time. Because the ending did let me down, I deducted another 0.5 and gave this book 4 stars, but despite the fact that the ending did let me down, It was incredibly smartly done because I am, oh my gosh, I'm hankering for the next one. I need book 2 now. Seriously. I don't know how I put this book down yesterday and picked up a book that was not book 2 today. I need book 2 and I need it now. So I'm predicting that it will be on my April TBR, and if it's not on my April TBR, it will definitely be on my May TBR. 4 stars from me. I highly recommend it. If you want to read a really good LGBTIQ+ male YA romance, this is the way to go. 2 authors that are very experienced in writing male romances coming together to create an amazing book. 4 stars from me, highly recommend. The final book that I picked up was a book that I read from cover to cover today, and so I was trying to work out my rating, but I'm pretty sure I know what I'm going to give it, because I don't think I can give it any other rating than what I am. And that book was this book, which is Legend by Marie Lu, or Marie Lu, I don't know, but either way. This is an adult dystopian book, and I gave this book 5 stars. Yeah. I am not fast and loose with my 5 stars. I only give 5 stars to a book that I believe deserves it, and for me, this is a 5-star book. I don't know if the reason I'm giving it 5 stars is because it's been a while since I've read a dystopian, but you guys, if you didn't already, sorry, you're not seeing the title. If you didn't already know this about me, you will now. I love dystopian books with a passion, and last year, for the entirety of 2021, I read 1 dystopian, and I nearly ended the year with 0. I don't know how that happened. I love dystopians so much because I love world building, and if there's one thing dystopians require for them to be a good dystopian is world building, because a dystopian, for those of you who don't know, is the opposite to a utopian. In dystopians, there are issues with the world, it's being run by a tyrant or a tyrant mentality, so we need to know what's going on, otherwise dystopian's not going to work. So really, the reader relies on heavy world building to get a grasp of what is happening. And we definitely do get that in this book. But I also love the characters we follow. Once again, this is a dual perspective book. We are following June and Day. We are in a world that is split in as a class system into 2 separate classes. I'm going to simplify it because I honestly don't remember what the class terms were, but let's just say there's the upper class and the lower class. The way that this is determined is when children turn a certain age, they need to take a test, and depending upon the mark, the score that they get for that test will determine their options that they can get for the remainder of their life. So whether they can even get an education, let alone get a really good education, go on to get a really good job, stuff like that. All those who fail the test, well, they end up having really, I'll be honest, a terrible life. It's a dystopian. The way the lower class is treated is absolutely horrible. Now, what's going on in this situation, in this particular moment of this world, is that there is a virus going around. It's the plague, and it's just really horrible. Anytime anyone gets the plague, they are basically killed, and yeah, it's just horrible. The majority of the upper class people, at least from what I've seen so far, are part of this massive army that are, in my opinion, under a delusion that they need to protect their area. So it's just, you put a toe out of line, you're going to be shot. It's horrible. I love the fact that we follow June and Day. So we follow June, the female, and Day, the male, because they are both from different classes. June is from the upper class. June is a prodigy. When she took the test, she became the only person ever, the only child ever, to score a perfect score on her test. So she is just pushed right up the ranks, and she's quite young in this book. I think she's like 11 or 12 or something, and she's already like a high-ranked official at that age because of her test scores, whereas Day received the opposite, the lowest score ever recorded. So he is pushed way down. Day wants to help his family because his brother has been affected with the plague, so he's doing what he can to try and there is a cure. The cure is only available for those in the upper class because it costs money to purchase the cure, so those in the lower class don't really have access to it. So Day becomes a criminal in order to try and assist his family. And I honestly feel that with the majority of dystopians I read, anyone who's considered a criminal in a dystopian world isn't necessarily what you would call a criminal in this world, because in this world it will be different. So I look upon Day definitely as a hero. So, one day, Day is trying to steal a vial of the cure from a hospital laboratory, and he is cornered and he needs to make his escape. So he ends up flinging a dagger at one of the guards, and it hits the guard in the shoulder, and he then ends up getting away. What we don't know at that time, but we find out soon enough afterwards, is that this particular guard was June's only immediate family member that's still left, which was her older brother, but he is dead. And June has been told that he died, he was killed by Day. So June has a lot of wrath for Day and wants to do everything she can to see her brother's killer be brought to justice. Eventually, June goes out on a mission, an undercover mission, to try and find Day. She finds him, and certain things come to light that make June realize that there is a lot more to this situation than what she is actually being told. And I love this book. I know I just read it today, and it'll be interesting to see how I feel with the longevity of it, but I'm definitely going to continue on. I thought the book was fantastic from start to end. There was no moment at all where I wasn't entertained by this book. Cover to cover, it was fantastic, and the way it leaves off, you can tell that Marie Lu planned to make this a trilogy series before she began, because the way it left off makes sense that it's where we are at, because it is a setup for book number 2, and I'm so excited to get on to book number 2. This is fantastic. I want to give a big shout out to my dear Aussie fellow reader Jane, who gifted me this book as my Secret Santa at the end of last year. Thank you, Jane, so much for getting me this book. This is a book I've wanted to read for years. It did not let me down. It was amazing, and I would not have had the opportunity had I not received it from you, so thank you very much. 5 stars from me. I can't wait to get on to book number 2, which is called Prodigy. So, wrapping up the week. To Helvetica and Back, 3 stars, Will Not Be, continuing on. What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera, 4 stars, need to read book 2 now. And Legend by Marie Lu, 5 stars, and also need to read book 2 now. So, these are the books that I read this week. Have you read any of these books before? And if so, what did you think of them when you read them? Did you agree with me, with my ratings, my thoughts, or disagree? Comment below and let me know. But in the meantime, that is where I am going to leave it until our next reading vlog. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so I'll see you again soon. Mwah! Thank you so much for watching. Be kind, love one another, and spread that sparkling energy all throughout the universe. And of course, happy reading!